Alright, so basically, before I mentioned that, I probably wasn't going to make any more videos on this account because, I was wanting to focus on my main account and getting the achievement diary cape and all of that, which I have almost done. I just have Slayer left to do. I just need like 3 more levels at this point. So, basically at this point, I can work on both, Slayer on that account and also do stuff on this account as well. Now this account is still for the time being, kind of, on the back burner, but again, I can do both at the same time, whereas before, I was doing really click intensive stuff like, blackjacking and, mining and 3-tick fishing and shit. So, I couldn't really plan 2 accounts at the same time while I was trying to do that stuff, and I was trying to do it all as fast as possible and everything. Um, But odds are, after I finish the achievement diary cape, I'm probably going to want to take a break, and that might result in me playing this account more. But in any case, I've been playing on this account lately, and I've actually been making quite a bit of progress on it. So I figured, as long as people wanted to see the progress videos for this account, I might as well throw them together as long as I'm making the progress, since it isn't really too difficult for me to make these videos. That being said, there probably isn't going to be a whole lot of progress because the thing is, everything I do on this account from here on out is going to be extremely slow. Like before, it was like doing quests and getting like some early levels and shit like that. At this point, though, pretty much everything is going to take an extremely long fucking time. Like right now I'm ranging, just try to get my range up, mainly to actually to get law runes because I was running fairly low on them. But what my main goal is right now is to get 70 crafting. Now right now we're at 55 now. That doesn't seem like very much, but that took a very long time. Basically, the method that we do for crafting, you get like 10k XP an hour or so, maybe 12k if you really, focus. But like I said, I usually don't. I'm usually, just playing 2 accounts at once. So, like 10k an hour, that's like 16 hours of crafting right there. And to get 70, it's like another 60 hours from here or something like that. I mean, it's a lot, okay? So it's going to take a very long time for me to actually get that crafting level, and that's why I have to go and get more law runes, because I'm gonna need like another, I don't even know, like probably like another 500 or 600 law runes just to finish off crafting, and obviously from there I'm gonna need law runes for other stuff as well. So I'm always gonna need more. So yeah, it's gonna be a while, but nevertheless, as long as I've got things to make clips on, I'll put together videos, and a lot of it also probably just be long clips of me talking like this at this point, because I'll be talking about like theoretically like what my plans are and that sort of thing. I don't know if I actually will go and get like 90 crafting or whatever, or 90 smithing or whatever for the rune scimitar. Probably not realistically, but I'm still like, the thing about this account is I actually enjoy like the process of doing stuff. It's not just about like the actual like achieving of it, but the actual process is enjoyable to me because it's something different than what I've been doing on RuneScape for such a long time in like the members worlds. So anyway, even if I don't actually ever end up getting those levels or whatever, I'm still going to basically plan as if I am going to do it, okay? So just bear with me in that respect. So if, theoretically we actually do go for those goals, what we'll be spending more time doing than anything is basically mining. Because obviously we have to get the ore in order to train smithing, and I'm pretty sure I've worked out that really the only option for me is to mine iron, okay, and make iron plate bodies. I don't think steel is going to be worth it, and gold really isn't an option because of all the bots. I'm pretty much going to be mining a shit ton of iron. And to give you an idea of exactly how much iron we're talking about, like to get 85 smithing, I believe I worked it out, it's going to be like 160 some thousand iron ores. That's of course if we lose 50% of them, obviously, when we're smelting them. If we were to actually manage to collect 84,000 nature runes, then we'd only have to mine 84,000 iron ore in order to, you know, get 85 smithing for the rune axe. So any way you slice it, it's gonna be a shit ton of mining, and I haven't quite worked out yet whether it's actually going to be worth it to kill dark wizards at some point to, you know, collect nature runes in order to superheat iron, because obviously to get 84,000 nature runes I would need, like, I think I worked out it would be at the very least like 1600 something hours. But the thing is, like, theoretically, you know, you'd be getting 99 attack, strength, defense, and range, all of which, and maybe even magic as well, you might train through combat. You know, you'd be spending thousands upon thousands of hours training. I mean, I'm not sure exactly sure how long it takes to get 99s in combat on free to play, but I would imagine that at some point throughout, you know, getting all of those, eventually you'd reach a point where, you know, from killing Yankus, where you've just got an unreasonable amount of law runes, and you just, you know, you're never going to need another law rune for the rest of your life. Like, if you got, like, you know, 20,000 law runes, which you might get actually from getting 99 range. I'm not entirely sure. But in any case, I think it's fair to say that, you know, between getting all of those 99s at Ankus, eventually you would reach a point where you just don't need any more law runes, even if you're using them like crazy to train. I just don't see you going through that many. Um, so, and you know, I thought about the mithril ore, but you really don't get very much mithril ore. And the other thing to think about is that you can't really count the mithril ore as like pure, you know, smithing XP. Like, you can't say, like, if you get, you know, for example, 9 mithril ore right now, I can't just count that as the XP that I'd get from, you know, making 9 mithril bars and then crafting them into mithril stuff, because in order to use these 9 mithril ore, I've got to actually go and mine for, you know, coal for each mithril ore. And, you know, during that time that I'm mining coal, I could potentially be, you know, mining iron instead in order to train smithing. So, you know, it's a bit more complicated now. I'm not going to go into all the calculations to actually figure out exactly how much smithing XP you get from the mithril ore per hour at the Ankus, but it's not very much at all. It's very little. Whereas the Dark Wizards, like I said, you get like 30, 40, maybe even 50 with really high like range. At the 30, 30, 40, 50 nature runes an hour at the Dark Wizards. So basically you can think of, you know, if you get 40 nature runes an hour, you can basically think of that as 20 iron ore, because you're going to lose, you know, half of it normally. So it's basically going to save you the other half of the iron ore for every nature rune that you get. So basically, you get like 20 iron ores per hour at the Dark Wizards if you really think about it. So, I mean, it's obviously not very much, but I think that it probably is more than you get at the Ankus. And like I said, if law runes are relevant, then you might just go for whichever one gives you more smithing XP indirectly, which again, it would be either Moss Giants or Dark Wizards, I think. And those also do give you law runes as well, not nearly as many as the Ankus do. But anyways, like I said, I'm still not sure at this point if it's actually going to be worth it to collect nature runes in order to superheat the iron. But I have been saving up some iron in my bank, and I just, you know, I'm not quite sure what to do with it yet. But in any case, I probably will superheat at least to 55 magic, but I don't know where I'll go from there. But anyway, in any case, we're going to be mining a shit ton of iron. There's no doubt about that. So I figured it was best to figure out exactly what is the very best method for mining and banking iron in free to play. So I did some calculations. It's not the most scientific you know thing. I didn't go into that much depth, but I was trying to figure out which one's better. So basically the two options are Varrock West mine, which is generally what most people think is the best for banking iron. And then there's also the Dwarven mine in Falador, which is actually pretty close. They're actually very close, surprisingly. And they both have two adjacent rocks, so that you mine them at the exact same speed. There's also a third rock nearby at the Dwarven mine, but it's not worth mining the third rock. It's better to just sit there and mine the two rocks from the same position. But anyway, I actually did a test to figure out which one is shorter. Now, in this case, what I did was I used run energy basically as a measurement of distance. So, obviously, the farther you go, the more run energy you're going to use. And as long as you have the same weight on you, you're always going to use run energy at the same rate for the distance that you traveled. And I made sure that I did have the same weight throughout the time that I was testing this. And basically, I found that the Dwarven mine uses 4 less run energy per trip, and that's both going to the spot and back. Now, generally, obviously, you'd be like walking back when you have the ore on you because that's more efficient. But for the sake of this, we just ran both ways with nothing on me, so that we keep it consistent. And yeah, the Dwarven mine is slightly faster when you just do it normally, so it is better. However, you can also do the Varrock West and then teleport back after you've got the full inventory of iron. You teleport to Varrock and then run to the bank, and it's actually a little bit shorter. And when you count the run energy on that one, it is actually shorter by 13 than the Dwarven mine, which is actually quite a bit. But the problem is you get 3 less iron per trip because you have to have the inventory slots for the runes, and you're wielding the staff, the air staff. So that means the rune pick's going to be in your inventory. So you only get 25 per trip. So I'm not quite sure. And at this point, really the only way I can actually figure out which one is better between those two options is to actually test them. Like do the Dwarven mine for an hour, then do the Varrock one with the teleporting for an hour, and figure out which one I get more iron from. Now it's going to be difficult to actually do it because people could try and like crash me and that sort of thing, but obviously I would try to keep it as consistent as possible. And I know it's just a little thing, but it is worth thinking about if you're actually going to be mining hundreds of thousands of iron. And even if I don't actually end up doing it, maybe somebody else who actually does have the attention span to get like 97 smithing or whatever it is for the rune kite shield might actually like see this video and do the one over the other if I figure out which one's better, or at least they'll think about it more. But anyways, the point is I'm trying to figure out how to optimize the mining of the iron, since we're going to have to mine a shit ton of it. That's basically just what we're getting at here, and I'm trying to actually get you to fathom how long it would really take to actually get these high smithing levels on this sort of account. Why the fuck did I choose to do this fucking random event? I thought you'd get like a fucking gem or something, but I'm pretty sure this is actually just like a one-way ticket to the middle of nowhere. the very least, I'm a fucking masochist for this. I actually fucking did it. I don't know what I got. I just got money. Yeah, that was a fucking waste of time. That's the stupidest random event I've ever seen. So I have actually made quite a bit of progress here and there though since my last video. Like for example, I had one rune crafting and I went up and got that to 20. And I trained like my wood cutting up a little bit. I stopped at 21 because I want to use a Mifter axe from here on out, and I need 3 more smithing levels to make that. Um, a lot of levels here and there. My mining actually has gone up quite a bit because of both crafting training and also mining a bunch of iron, as you will see in a moment. And yeah, like I said, just a little bit of range levels and that sort of thing. But most of it was crafting. That's what I spent more time doing than anything. So, and that's probably what I'm going to continue focusing on until I basically get 70 for the amulet of power. But my bank has actually made, it's actually quite a bit different than previously. Like for example, I believe last time I had like no money, and now I have 111k. Again, pretty much all the money on this account is going to be made from crafting, and I think it's actually worked out that if you did get 99 crafting, you'd make somewhere between like 20 to 30 mil from just making holy symbols. I probably will continue to always make the holy symbols, even though the tiaras are like 2.5 more XP per tiara than the holy symbols, but they're worth like nothing. Whereas the holy symbols, I think I typically sell them for about 80 to 90 each at the Wilderness General Store. So I mean that's over 100k right there as well. So I actually have quite a bit of money at this point, but I haven't bought the full rune armor yet because I don't really plan on training melee anytime soon anyways, so I don't really need it, and I might need the money for like arrows or something else, I don't know. But yeah, so that's the main difference. But also, as you can see, I have quite a bit of iron ore there, which again, I'm just not quite sure what I'm going to do yet because I'm not sure if I'm going to superheat it or not. But that's probably something like, even if I don't superheat, probably like 25k smithing XP right there or something like that. So it's actually pretty good. And like I said, a bunch of holy symbols, lots of holy symbols there, and also quite a few gems that I get from like randoms as well as mining, of course. And yeah, so I have some arrows on me right now as well, but that's really the main thing. It's just lots more money, lots of ore that I need to use. So yeah, and probably when I do make the iron ore into plate bodies, because I don't think I'm gonna ever make steel. I don't think it's worth it. I probably will just hold on to the iron plate bodies because I don't really see myself ever really being that desperate for money on this account. I mean, it's not like I'm an Ultimate Ironman where I have to like rebuy gear all the time whenever I'm switching from one thing to another. So pretty much all I'm gonna spend money on is like arrows, I think, unless I can find some other use for it. So I'd rather just have like, a bunch of stuff in my inventory than to have more cash that I don't really need, because like I said before, what I like about this account is like seeing all the stuff like pile up in your bank that you've, collected through doing all these, random tasks for a really long time that normal people never do.